Okay, sorry about that. To answer your question really quickly, you'll be able to view the video afterwards, so we'll share that with you guys. So like I mentioned, LinkedIn can be used to network with your peers, your professors, different companies. You can search and apply for jobs through LinkedIn and apply through LinkedIn as well. And what's really important for us as undergrads is that we can reach out to recruiters. So for example, if you go to the career fair during the school year, then you can connect with those recruiters that you talk to afterwards and kind of say, hey, I talked to you today. I'm really interested in this position. What can I do to get that job? So it's a really, really great resource for us as we kind of get closer to graduation and start looking for jobs and internships. So now I will move on to how to use LinkedIn, and I will stop sharing my screen, and Caroline, you can take it away.
Wonderful. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay, so let's talk about maximizing your LinkedIn. I do want to, even though I have a PowerPoint presentation, so I'll go through just building your profile, really maximizing how to make your profile stand out, talking about networking, using that feature within LinkedIn, and then providing a demo within the tool, the site. But please feel free to jump in anytime, unmute yourselves, pop in any questions or comments in the chat box at any time, okay? So yeah, let's just get started. As Sarah mentioned, LinkedIn is used by so many people these days, and that this is a way for you to build your online presence, online brand. And so your professional reputation starts before you get the job, because many employers may Google you or may look at your LinkedIn profile to see, are you someone that has taken the time to work on your LinkedIn profile? So that shows to them that you are someone that's dedicated to your career development. And I think one way of showing that is being able to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is filled, it's up to date, and it's kind of personalized to who you want to see your profile. As you can see, also lots of companies, recruiters are on the platform. That's actually how LinkedIn makes money. So on behind the scenes, there is kind of this tool for recruiters to purchase where they can do kind of keyword searches for candidates. So that's why it's great to be able to make sure you have a great summary written out, that you have your experiences listed on your LinkedIn profile, and details and descriptions about each of those experiences. I would say that more than 58% probably by now are using social media in their job search. So if any of you, I hear not only with LinkedIn, I hear people have found positions even on Facebook or on Twitter. So I'm sure that number has grown. And be sure to Google yourself. So I know we're talking about LinkedIn today, but you'd be surprised. It's just out of curiosity, Google yourself and see what pops up in that search feed, search result. Okay, so let's just dive into the profile. So one thing to showcase to an employer. So I would say that a large percentage of profiles are looked at when you do have that professional photo. So making sure that it's a clear photo of just you, that you're smiling, or show that you're someone that's approachable and friendly. It's good lighting, and it's just you. You may have seen, as you're on LinkedIn looking at different people's profiles, you might see ones that are you just can't tell who they are or what they're doing. So just making sure that this is a professional platform. Your Facebook profile or your or Instagram might be different, but for this one you want to keep it professional. And that doesn't mean you have to pay for pictures. You could just have a friend, family member, whoever is around, and take a photo of you. Lots of folks these days all three of these actually are outside. So a lot of folks like to kind of take pictures outside, get that good lighting out there. Okay. And customizing your background and header. So I know LinkedIn kind of has this default, I think like a blue background, but why not show your personality? This is a way for you to stand out And again, staying professional, but it showcases a little personality. So I know Sasha, she participated and interned in Washington, D.C. She, wanted to kind of showcase, the White House, her time there. You can have something like, UCI. UCI has some really great photos that you can upload of the campus. Tani is really interested in occupational, like pediatric occupational therapy. So she wanted to kind of showcase that personality or that interest. So yeah, so this is just some examples. LinkedIn has kind of their own free backgrounds, but yeah, I know students have designed their own. And then LinkedIn also has since created their own. So I'll pop in there and I'll show you some of the ones that the templates that they've created as well. Okay. Also customize your headline, take advantage. You have so much space to, you have so much space to be able to, put underneath your photo. So being able to, take advantage of that character limit, not only describing necessarily your current title or that your, or class year, but here's some examples. Maybe your current role, maybe something that you're involved in on campus, maybe, a profession, like a focus that you have. So here's some examples. So someone sharing their major, but they are also a student assistant at UCI Sustainability Resource Center. Someone's a senior, but they're also the VP of the Engineering Student Council, or that they are an emerging biomedical engineering professional with an interest in prosthetics. So, different ways that you can really highlight who you are beyond being a student. Okay, something eye-catching. And feel free as I'm talking, I feel free to go into LinkedIn as we're speaking if you wanted to, start kind of following along, adding some of those, making some of those changes. Okay. Okay, another thing that you could do is personalize your LinkedIn URL. So LinkedIn by default, when you set up a profile, it'll be linkedin.com in, Caroline Chang, AB24567, it's like they just kind of, automatically generate, but you can actually create or edit that and make it your first name, last name, if it hasn't been taken. You could do, Caroline Career Counselor, or, so again, it's something that's a little bit easier to remember and cleaner to, share, let's say on your resume or in an email or something. Okay. And again, I'll jump into LinkedIn a little bit and demo that. Any questions so far? Let me just pop in. There's like okay. Yeah. Let me know if
I
there's
got a
any
quick.
questions. Yeah, sure.
Would you prefer them in the chat or should we unmute?
Either way, whatever you're
Okay, great,
comfortable with.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah, so far I have two questions. Number one,
Sure.
um, what what do you think about is there such a thing as professionals that help you through this, or is that basically what you are? Like if I go to the Career Center or something,
Mhm, mhm,
can they help me with something like this? Because my main concern
mhm.
is I don't want to put on my LinkedIn profile what I think is important. Rather, I would like to put on there what the companies are thinking that's important. And I just don't know what that is because I've been in school, you know. What do you think about that?
No, yeah, great question. We certainly are not experts, and we're not employers, but I think that we can provide advice and provide, critiques of your LinkedIn profile. I've done that for students in an appointment. They kind of share with me their LinkedIn profile. We'll kind of go through it, and we can provide suggestions on how to make it stand out more, how to describe your experiences, kind of like, with a resume critique. So yeah, that's something we could do. I think another great resource is connecting with, alumni or peers or people within your professional, network in your field to take a look as well for feedback.
Thank you. And then
Okay.
one
Yeah.
more quick question about one
Mhm.
of the statistics you showed. You said
Yeah.
93% of companies recruit through
Yes.
LinkedIn. How does
Yes.
that work logistically? Is that is it just a default? So if I make a profile and I put all my
Mhm.
information in there, am I just automatically kind of in this pool now, or are there certain ways to get into that? Like I'm
Mhm.
available for recruiting or something like that.
Yes, both are correct. So you are kind of in the default pool of profiles on LinkedIn that the employer can search on. So, there is kind of an employer piece. So LinkedIn kind of, that's how they make the money, is having, selling kind of to the recruiters a robust kind of searchable feature on the back end. They're looking for students in Southern California with, these key skills. So there is that, but then there is also an added now feature or functionality within LinkedIn where you can indicate that I am open to being contacted, or I am actively looking for jobs. So I'll show that to you as well.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
sure, of course. Great question. Yeah, keep them coming. All right. Okay, so moving on to personalizing your summary and your about section. So I tell students this is really, it could go anywhere with these summary sections, and there's really no character limit either. But I would say still we're gonna try to make it concise. I tell students that it can be kind of like a tell me about yourself if you were to answer this in an interview question. So really tailor it to who you are, what you're passionate about, what you're seeking, so that if, let's say, your dream recruiter company is looking at the summary, they have a really great sense of kind of who you are, what you're looking for. Okay, so here are a couple of examples that you can kind of take a look at. Um, I think like with anything that you put out there to employers, we always want to try to tailor it. So I know this is open to the general public, but let's say you're very specific in reaching, you know, folks in electrical engineering. So really tailor that, really appeal, adding something about maybe a project that you worked on, or an internship that you did, or skills that you have that might be related. Okay. Um, Adding something that's unique. I've seen students also share not only kind of the professional qualities, skills that you have, but also maybe something that you like to do for fun that's interesting. Your Clifton Strengths Finder I've seen as well. So you can kind of take a look at other people's profiles and see, oh, well, you know what, I really like what they did there, and add that. So, okay. Okay, so lots of sections. So unlike, a resume or cover letter, you have to keep that to one page. A LinkedIn profile can be really really long. So you can add, skills, specific skills, foreign languages, projects, things like that. So I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay, so definitely maximize and take advantage of that. Licenses, certifications if you have it. Okay. Okay, so moving on to kind of leveraging it. So we talked about kind of the basics of the profile. So your profile photo, your heading, the summary, your categories, adding those experiences on there. And so once you have that, so that's what I recommend to students is once you feel really good about your LinkedIn profile, then let's start really maximizing and start contacting people, reaching out, connecting, because naturally those people will want to, look at your profile. So once you have it really built out, then, they're going to take a look and say, oh, wow, yeah, I'd love to connect. Okay. Okay. So lots of ways to utilize LinkedIn for career exploration. So searching for alumni, whether that's alumni from UCI, if you've transferred from a community college, even high school, you can join and participate in tons of groups. Thousands and thousands of groups are on here that you can connect with and join. You can follow companies that you're interested in. So if you have like a dream, target list of companies, you can follow them, learn more about the people that currently work with those companies, jobs that they might be posting. So I think that's really the power of LinkedIn, is those connections, right? Okay, so when you're connecting with people, one really, really important piece is to make sure that you're being personal, right? Because um, there's so many people on LinkedIn. I often get, and you may also have as well, is get random invites from people, and we don't know who they are, or maybe we think we do, we remember them from somewhere, but always add a note and include a personalized message. No matter how close or friendly you are, I think it's just good practice. So here's a student that emailed me, messaged me, hello, Caroline, thank you for helping with my handshake profile and giving me career advice last week during the workshop. I learned a lot. I hope we can connect here on LinkedIn. Like, just a really nice note of appreciation. And yeah, I'm more likely to want to connect and right with that person. So same, so that's, I think, a practice I really want you all to always remember, is adding that note. I know it's so tempting to say, oh yeah, I'm just going to send, I'm going to just add a whole bunch of people. I want to say that LinkedIn is more about quality versus quantity. I know that, with Facebook or Instagram, we want to have as many followers or friends, right? My kind of personal philosophy is to have quality people that I'm connected to. So I will sometimes decline an invitation because I really just don't know that person. I would like to have a network. If one of you said, Caroline, I see Joe, you're connected with Joe on LinkedIn. Would you mind making an introduction? So for me, I would like to have that pool of people in my LinkedIn network that I would feel comfortable doing that. Okay. And not have kind of these random people that I'm connected to. I have no idea who they are, but that's me. Another thing that I've heard is that students may be contacted by recruiters through LinkedIn, just kind of out of the blue. And I think that I want you all to feel empowered that you kind of, because they've initiated the connection with you, that you can politely decline, or if you're interested, investigate further. So thank you so much for reaching out. I would be really interested in learning more about the XYZ position that you shared with me. If it's something, and if you're comfortable, you can say, I have 15 minutes on Friday, between 1 and 3 to connect. And so that way you're not losing too much time. You're kind of, if it doesn't work out, it's just 15 minutes of your time. Some could be, unfortunately, scams, or people are reaching out to you for, just doing a cold, like just a massive, um, distribution of a job that you might not be interested in. But I would say, it's entirely up to you. It's your time if you want to kind of, ask for more information. And I think that even if it's not of interest to you, let's say the company is, let's say the company's reaching out and saying, oh, I have this really great like sales role. And you're like, you know what? I'm not interested in sales at all. You can just appropriately respond back and say, thank you so much for reaching back out to me. At this time, I'm interested more in something in, engineering, software engineering, electrical engineering. If anything opens up in your organization, please let me know. Okay. So kind of, I want to mention this for you to feel empowered with, how you want to, um, guide these conversations. Okay. And how you want to respond. Okay. Okay, so for informational interviews, so very similar is, adding, that personalized message, how why you're reaching out to them, asking for time to meet with them, to speak with them, why you want to connect. There is kind of a 300 character limit, but being able to just really briefly share like why you're connecting with them, that you want to have some time to speak with them. Okay. So here's kind of like a sample email to do that. Okay. So also, of course, LinkedIn is a great way to be able to find opportunities. So looking at job descriptions to find out, what qualifications are required for someone in this role, to research companies, looking for alums, to follow those companies, to research the companies. So LinkedIn is also a really great tool for, to prepare for writing cover letters or preparing for interviews. So being able to find people before your interview and talk to them about what they love about working for that company or about their role if it's similar. Um, so being able to gather that information. Okay. Any questions? I know that was a lot. Any questions about kind of networking, connecting with folks?
In general, is there a so I mean you've talked about a lot about wanting to know the people that you're connected with.
Sure, right.
So there is no prize here for having the largest network, right? Like that's not a metric used to judge you in any way. Like if employers look in and say, "Oh, this guy's connected to 5,000 people. He's probably worth it," as opposed to somebody like me. I have like 4 people in mind.
Yeah, that's okay. Quality, I would say quality over quantity. And yes, you're right. Employers are not going to say, "Oh, wow, they're so popular." Not at all. This tool is for you. It's for you to put your, to sell yourself, with your profile, to really show your personality beyond a resume. It's just a way for you to get yourself out there and to connect with people. So it's really, you have kind of the power here to use it how do you want to. Okay, great. So let's jump into LinkedIn. Okay, so this is my dashboard. So once you log in, you create an account. Once you start connecting with people, you'll see a dashboard and kind of this feed of people I'm connected to. They post, different notes, comments, articles. So, you know, I follow Google. So, if Google's commenting on something, that pops up as well. So if you go up to, so let's start with your profile. So I'm going to go to my profile. Okay. So you see these pencils. Pencils are your friend. So this is where you can edit um, your um, your background photo. So you can change the photo. And so yes, you can add a custom image, upload one, or LinkedIn has these that you can select as well. Really nice. You can change your name, you can add your pronouns, you can add your headline. So yeah, lots of space here. So I can add even more. Okay. All right. So this is where you can indicate that you are open to finding a new job. Okay. So show recruiters and others that you're open. So you can personalize, what job titles, what kind of work are you open to? So you can, add a title, workplaces, location, start date. So there's um, some fields for you to fill out so they can really personalize. Okay. And they can add it to your profile that you're open. Okay. So you can also choose who sees your open. So because it's added to your profile. So let's say I'm happy at UCI, but you know what? I'd be open to it, right? I just maybe want to have recruiters only. I don't want maybe my colleagues to know that I'm also kind of open to other opportunities. So you can select. So I love that LinkedIn has that. Okay. So moving down, so you can add the about. So this is where you can kind of provide that summary, tell me about yourself here. So yeah, that's quite a bit of space for you to add really anything. And I've helped students with crafting this. So sometimes I think what's helpful is students will bring me a draft or email me a draft. make some edits, and then, you can kind of copy and paste it in there. I mean, what's great about LinkedIn too is you can make changes, and it's very real time. So you can make changes, constantly, and it's reflected immediately. You can start posts there. So here's my experiences. So you can add, right, you can add as much or as little that you want in terms of these experiences. You can add media. I've seen students who worked on a project and wanted to put maybe a video of their project, or a PowerPoint presentation of the project, things like that. So you can add those on there. Okay. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Any questions? If you go to edit public profile and URL, this is where you can customize that URL. Okay.
So, sorry, Caroline, I have another
Yeah.
question. Yeah, I
Yeah, of
apologize.
course. No, don't apologize.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I need a little differentiation here. So I get, now that I'm a senior, so I've been in school for a while. So
Okay.
gradually over the years, I get more and more of these, I guess, notifications in my social tab in Gmail. Hey,
Oh, okay.
LinkedIn employers that are looking for what you got.
Yes.
Um, but in my LinkedIn profile, I do not have either the recruiters only marked or the LinkedIn members marked. So what's the
Hmm.
difference here between how they're accessing my information? Is that just LinkedIn trying to make suggestions and nobody else can see it? Or how are they accessing that information?
Yeah, what do you have on your profile? Do you feel like you have, do you have that your major on
Yeah, so
LinkedIn, or what?
mechanical
Okay.
engineer major,
Yeah.
and I've got several things filled out, not everything,
Good.
but I
Right.
haven't I haven't. So just following along with you, I've noticed that
Mhm.
I haven't clicked in here who can see it. So where is that something that's different? Like, are those two different streams? Like
Yes.
one is just a shotgun approach, and then the other one is more specific.
Yes. You mean this one, the open to? Is that what you
Yes.
mean? So this is very specific, and an indicator. It could be like a specific field on the recruiter's end that, oh, this person is open to, they're looking for a job. But they also have the feature, the functionality to just search for students. Maybe they're saying, okay, I want to find UCI students that are mechanical engineers, and that's popping up for them.
Okay.
And
And
especially if your profile is public.
okay. And will those
Mhm.
appear differently to me? Like, will I get
Mm.
a specific message from somebody say, "Hey, we found your profile. We're interested in you," instead of feeling like I'm part of just 10,000 messages that they sent out.
Yeah, right, right. I think that it will really depend on the employer. I think that, from what I anecdotally, students have said that there have been recruiters that have made it feel like it's very personal. It's not like a mass kind of messaging or email that's sent out, that it has been kind of personalized to them. So I think they could get both.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 No, that's great. Great questions. Yeah, and as I mentioned, you're getting those emails. Use your own, discernment. If you feel like, nah, totally does not seem interesting at all, and just pass, or yeah, respond back and say, thank you so much for reaching out. Love to hear more about what opportunities you have in your organization. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the job search is like a job in itself. So, applying to posted positions, that's the easiest, right? Is applying to position. They, respond back saying they want to interview you. You interview, you get an opportunity. But now there are so many other ways for you to find jobs, and some of it is that recruiters are reaching out to you, and you can then have a little bit of that power in the job search. Okay. What else? Yeah, anything else that you see on LinkedIn, feel free again to open up your own profiles. But anything that you see as I'm scrolling or on your end that you have questions about.
I have a question actually.
Okay.
So for
Yes.
the summary or the about section, I know I really struggled with writing mine.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
sometimes, I will want to say I want to pursue graduate school, but if I'm applying to a job, that's not something that I would want to kind of advertise.
hmm
Um,
hmm
so how do you know what to say and what not to say?
Yeah. I mean, I think you already have kind of a gut feeling like maybe I shouldn't add that I want to go to grad school or say in the future, I would like to pursue, or further my education.
Right,
So maybe kind of the way you frame it is that, oh, it's not immediate, but that's something that I am interested in the future.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think you kind of already have a gut feeling, a sense like, oh, what's appropriate or not. And again, you can always just email me, meet with a career advisor, and we'd be happy to help you to kind of tailor and craft that about section. Okay. Great. Anything else? And thanks for Sarah for putting in the chat box about that in mail. So thank you for bringing that up because so let's move on to now the connecting piece. So we've kind of talked about the profile. So now let's talk about connecting. So I love LinkedIn because companies, schools, they all have their own kind of LinkedIn page. So if you go to UC Irvine, their page, you can follow them, or actually I'm already following them. But you can go to alumni. Okay. And it's so cool that they have filters like, well, where are these alumni? I want to filter by where they live, by where they work, by what they do, by what they studied. Or you could just do kind of like, your own keyword. Okay. So you can then even filter by, oh, okay, I want to see, filter by civil engineers at Northrop. You could do that as well. But let's just kind of keep it open. So here's Andy. Um, and so this means, so this second, that means that we have a shared mutual connection. And it actually tells you who those are. So I could go to Stephen or Annie and say, hey, would you mind introducing me to Andy? Or when I connect with Andy, I could say, hi, Andy, how are you? I am currently a civil engineer student here at UCI. I see we have a shared connection. We both know Stephen, Annie. Do you have some time I can talk? We could talk, so that's kind of where you can kind of utilize that LinkedIn. But do you see here that the message, there's a lock on it? And so it is kind of prompting you to pay or try this premium for free. And you don't have to pay. Like I've been using LinkedIn for years and years and I don't have premium. I've told, there's no need for students to pay for it unless you want to try it for free for a month. And that's really when you're going to be in it to win it with your job search. Some students save that free month to do that. But otherwise, there's ways kind of around connecting and messaging with alums. Okay. So that's kind of the way the in-mail comes in. That's when you see that, that means that that person has paid for premium subscription to LinkedIn. But again, you all don't need to unless you feel like, you know what, I really would like to invest in this for my job search or networking. Absolutely okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, I love LinkedIn about that, with that, the ability to be able to filter for UCI alums, filter by alums by where they work. So super cool. Love this. In terms of jobs, this is where you can find jobs. So let's say, let's go back to that. Let's do civil engineer, for example, that same example. So lots of jobs here, filter by maybe entry level internship, kind of as undergrads here. You can filter by company if you want, but I would say, let's just keep it open. Okay. They have added this on-site or remote-based work, so that's kind of cool too. So you can see, so I went to USC for grad school, so that's why this is popping up for me. But for you, and then here, UCI is kind of, we have kind of a shared connection where we work. But what I like about it is that you can click on it and say, you know, if there's another engineer, say, wow, you know what, I'm going to connect with Marlo and ask about his experience working at WSP. Um, you know, how did he find his job? What does he love most about working there? Because that's really great research and insight as you're applying for that job, to have some information to maybe put in a resume, excuse me, in a cover letter, to maybe share in an interview. Okay. You can also connect with these alums to ask them, you know, Marlo, I see that there's a really great civil engineer opportunity post on LinkedIn. Would you happen to know anything about it? Do you know who the hiring manager is? I'd love some advice, you know, okay. So while there is a posted position, going above and beyond by connecting with someone from the organization, that just helps you stand out. And it could, it's not a guarantee, but it could result in them, you know, really vouching for you, or, you know, passing along your materials to, you know, whoever the hiring manager is. So again, we don't want to go into the conversation or with that expectation, but you just never know. If you've made a really great impression, ask some great questions, you never know. Okay. Okay, what else about LinkedIn? Yeah, there's just so much within here. Um, let's see, let's say, for example, I don't know, I can't think of another. So let's say, for example, I just, Bose is, you know, my target list of companies. You know, I can follow them. And when I follow them, um, they'll then pop up on my feed. So if there's any jobs or postings or news, that comes up on my feed immediately. You can also, you know, go and see if there's any jobs. So lots of jobs posted here. Um, Sometimes, yeah, not in this case, but sometimes you could see who posted the position. So you can connect with them and ask them more about that opportunity. Okay. All right. So yeah, Stephen works here. So it looks like, oh, okay. I actually know someone. I had forgotten. Stephen, you know, I think he moved. He moved on from, I knew he was somewhere else, and it looks like, oh, he's got a new job at Bose. So that's really cool too on LinkedIn to say, oh, wow, I actually see that I know somebody there. I'm going to connect with him and chat more about this great opportunity that I want to apply to. Okay, I see something in the chat. Yes, yeah, feel free to connect with each other, practice writing those personalized messages to each other. That'd be awesome. Okay. Anything
I have
else?
a question about
Sure.
some of the parts in the profile. So let's just say I'm a transfer student from another school,
Yeah,
and then I added some of the clubs activities in my organization,
awesome.
but because I left the school already, so
Mhm.
which means that I'm not part of the clubs anymore. So would you recommend putting those experience or organizations in experience section or in organization section? Because I don't know which section would
Yeah.
people usually, because people just usually skim through your profile, but then they probably don't pay attention to every sections in details.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really great question. I think that it really depends on the experience. Let's say you were part of a student organization, maybe you co-founded the organization, or you were an active leader in that organization that was significant and related in a way. I would put that under experience. So that could be kind of under your experience as a job. So here, as opposed to maybe under here, activities under education. So I think it really depends on what that experience looks like. I have seen students who were maybe you're part of engineering student council and a leader and doing some significant work. I've seen students put that within it as an experience, as if it were a job, and bullet point what you do. Okay, because you're right. Like sometimes when you put it here, it's just kind of hidden and
Yeah.
you need to highlight it more. Yeah. And that's the beauty and flexibility of LinkedIn. Yeah.
But what if I'm not any kinds of leader? I'm just a member working on a technical project,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
should that also go under experience or group? Also, what if there are other organizations, let's just say it's a honor organization, or I guess like everybody else, there are some students who are in Dean's honor list. So where would you put those things?
I would probably put it here under education. So Dean's Honors List. I think you couldn't even add GPA. I think if you wanted to, yeah, some people have grade. You could put description. You could put honors, Dean's Honors List here. So there's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And
Thank you.
yeah, in terms of, projects, so some of you may have done or currently doing significant projects through UCI. That I've also seen experience, or there should be a project section as well. So you can add projects section under here.
Okay.
Okay. So project name. Okay. So it's up to you. Yeah. You can play with it. You can kind of add it as a project and see how it looks. Decide, you know what? No, I'm going to move it to experience. So I think that's what's great about LinkedIn is the changes are real time. You can just
Okay.
continue to play with that.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, anything else? Yeah, lots of great questions. I hope it's giving you all some great ideas. Okay, cool, Sarah. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Okay, let's go back. I don't think I have too much. Yeah, I do want to just leave information about the division career pathway. So not just resources on LinkedIn. So we do host different workshops, including LinkedIn, building your resume, interviewing. We also have virtual appointments available in Handshake. So if any of you after the session, you're working on your LinkedIn profile, your summary section, and want to meet with someone, please do that in Handshake. So if you go to Handshake, go to Career Center, and go to appointments, this is where you can schedule a new appointment. Okay. All right. And then when in-person classes resume, we will also resume in-person drop-ins in our patio space. So these are, quick 10, 15-minute questions. You can bring, your laptop out there and you can show us your LinkedIn profile. So we'd be happy to review that. Everything, all the services, resources, events are free while you're here as a student. Another thing I want to mention, so let me stop share. I'll put in the link to another great resource. Let me just find it real quick. So we've had someone from LinkedIn actually do a really great session on you're building your LinkedIn profile, maximizing your LinkedIn. So he was excellent. So let me find that for you. Here it is. Okay. So this is our webinar library. DCP webinar. And under networking is where you can find the one on LinkedIn. And it was by a gentleman that works for LinkedIn, and it's I think a little over an hour long, but it's very detailed. He shows some really specific LinkedIn profiles of students that he's worked with that he thought were great profiles. So definitely check that out. Okay, great. Any other questions? I know it's a lot of information in a short amount of time. Anything else that I can help answer? Anything else I can show again, go through?
Thank you very much, Caroline.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for attending. I think it's awesome that despite everything that's going on, busy with everything else, that you're all dedicating time to your professional development, career development, and building your online professional brands. It's awesome. So props to you all for taking this time too.
Yeah, thank you very much. My email is there at the top. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. There's also a link to the DCP office, their website. So feel free to check that out as well. Thank you everyone for coming. I will be posting this recording very soon. And I'll send a link out as well in an email next week, maybe. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody. And I could hang out for a few minutes if anyone has any other questions. And thank you, Sarah, for partnering or inviting me to join.
Of course, thank you so much. It was really helpful, even for me.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay, great. I think, yeah, is there anybody else? Okay.
That should be good.
All right. Well, great. Great meeting you.
Thank you. You
Reach
too.
out anytime if you need anything else for your own career
Yeah, of
development.
course. For sure.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.